Depends on your university, and I definitely think if you are like practically orientated like me, or if you're more academic, then this is something that you really need to look for in a uni. So my name's Faye and I'm doing medicine at Anglia Ruskin and I'm about to go into my third year.
Would you like to mention your hometown?
I'm from Llandudno, North Wales.
Could you tell us about your Instagram?
So I just have an Instagram where I post pictures where like wearing clothes, like fashion, and then also showing like my life doing medicine.
Could you tell us the course you're currently studying?
So I'm doing a 5-year course, medicine, to become a doctor at the end of it. And this just involves like, it's quite a heavy, well, it's quite a time. It's quite a, what's the word?
Time consuming?
Yeah, time. I'm in like 9 till 4 basically every day.
Why did you choose your course?
I chose my course because like I wanted to become a doctor. So that's the only, I guess you can take 2 routes. You can either do like biomedical sciences and then do a graduate medicine degree, or you can just go straight on to do medicine straight after school. And I just chose to do that because I'd already made the decision that I wanted to become a doctor.
You've just finished 3 years of your course.
Just finished 2nd year, going into
second year, sorry.
Yeah.
Second year of your course. What have you thought of your course so far?
Personally, I really enjoy it because I think what I really love about medicine as a course, depending on where you go in the country, well, okay, I'll restart that. For me, my course is a very practical, clinical orientated course. So medicine degrees across the country vary quite a bit, because some of them you don't see any patients for the first 2 to 3 years. And then for mine, I've been on placement since first year. I see everything that I learn about has a clinical relevance. So it's very practical and I'm quite like a hands-on person. I like to see how things apply in the real world. So everything that I've been learning, knowing how that will actually help me in the future has been, instead of just seeing it on a book and not really understanding. So I've really, really enjoyed that part of, my course.
Did you come from a sixth form or college background?
I came from sixth form.
What subjects did you study in sixth form?
I did biology, chemistry, maths, and Welsh baccalaureate.
Did any of those subjects help you with your course?
So chemistry, you need it, but I don't actually think it helped that much. I say biology is the most. Some medical schools, you don't actually need biology, but in my opinion, biology has been way more beneficial than chemistry. So if you want to do medicine, then take biology and chemistry.
That actually leads me on to my next question. What do you think the best A-levels are, / subjects are for your course?
Biology and chemistry, without a shadow of a doubt. Some courses, they'll want you to take a third science, so it might be like maths or physics or something. But if they don't want that, then I would say third option, pick something you enjoy and pick something that you know you'll get an A in, because that will help you more in the long run.
Okay. Could you remind us of the university you're currently studying at?
What, sorry?
Could you remind us of the university you're currently studying at? Anglia
Ruskin.
Could you briefly explain what that university is and how the different campuses work?
So Anglia Ruskin is based on 3 campuses. So there's a campus in Cambridge, a campus in Peterborough, and a campus in Chelmsford. Medicine runs on the Chelmsford campus, and I never go to any of the other campuses for anything, and we don't really mix with the other campuses. So they're quite like segregated, even though it's all under the same Anglia Ruskin name. Their Chelmsford campus is mainly like healthcare sciences, so nursing, midwifery, medicine.
Could you tell us the best and worst things about studying at your university? Starting off with the worst.
Worst, it's not a big student city. Chelmsford, I mean, I don't know about Cambridge, I don't know about Peterborough, but Chelmsford is not a big student city. It's kind of like there's lots of people who commute into London. So it's not got the best nightlife. The SU isn't great. It's quite a small campus. That's probably the worst.
The best?
Best is the facilities are great. We have great support. Chelmsford's a really nice town. Like, it might not be the most studenty town, but it's really quite pleasant and quite safe. And it's only 30 minutes on the train to London, so that's quite handy.
If we go into your accommodation, where did you live in your first year?
So I lived on campus in my first year at a place, it's called Ransom's Way. And I was in a refurb room with like, the rooms are quite small. So just like a single bed, but it did have an ensuite and it was refurb and like had really good storage, but yeah, it was quite small.
What was it like living there? How many people are in your flat?
So there's 6 people per flat, and then it's a locked door before that. Like, I know some of the halls, it's kind of like, there's not much, you have a lock on your door, but maybe there's not like a lock before you get into the kitchen living area. But we had a lock before our kitchen living area, which was, it kind of makes it feel a little bit more safe. And then I was in a flat with 5 other girls, and then there was probably about 6 other flats in that like block. So not like massive halls, they're still quite small.
What was it like living there?
Like not really lively. We were all grouped into, I lived with all medics. I think they do that. That wasn't by choice. I think they kind of put medics together just because of placement and whatever. So yeah, it was. It
was an accommodation.
Pardon?
It was just an accommodation.
Yeah. It wasn't like party central. It was just, and it's quite nice. The refurb, it's small, but the refurbed rooms are really nice.
Where did you live in your second year?
I moved out into a flat with my best friend, about 10 minutes walk away from campus.
What was the transition like living in student halls to a flat with your friend?
It's difficult because I feel like when you're in halls, like say your bills are sorted out for you, your Wi-Fi sorted out for you. Like, I remember when we got to our flat and we were like, right, we have to get like a Wi-Fi box. We have to do so many different things that we just hadn't thought of. I think when you move out to a different place, that's when you actually kind of grow up a little bit. And
sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, sometimes if you're on campus, obviously you're probably really close to things. Whereas if you move out, it's different being a little bit further away as well. I think it becomes easier to miss things because you're like, oh, it's such a long walk or whatever. So I would just say, like, make the effort to still go in, even like it's only a 10-minute walk for me, which is fine. But I know other people who moved out a little bit further and it can get a little bit more, I don't know, tricky to get back into campus.
Do you have any advice for students who are looking to move out of their student halls in the first year?
In the first year, so not going.
So from student halls just into a house or a flat.
Okay. I would say just because people are your best friends, it doesn't always make them good housemates. I'm so lucky, like my best friend, we have such a night, like we get on so well living together. However, I know a lot of people who are really close and then they move out together and then it just ruins your friendship. I think try and move out with people. Like, I think the dynamics of the people you move out with is so important. So just try pick those people quite well. Like, if they have similar, if they want the house to be like a similar level of tidy to you, like you kind of don't want people who are really neat freaks, and then you don't want people who are like disgustingly messy. Like, you just want someone who's on the same level as you. That's really important. Someone who has like the same budget as you, and someone who maybe wants to live, maybe if someone doesn't mind walking, then obviously you can pick somewhere like maybe a little bit further away. Or if someone is like, they want to be close to uni because they want to go into the library a lot, all these different things that you really don't consider.
What do you think the best accommodation, student halls accommodation, is in your area?
So there's only literally just one option. There's the one in Ransom's Way, but then there's the refurbed option and there's the non-refurbed option. And I don't even think there's that much of a price difference between refurb and non-refurb. So I would definitely get the refurb, but I think there's just limited. So sometimes people don't get refurb when they want it.
If we go into the area, you briefly mentioned the nightlife. Could you go more into it?
So there's quite a lot of bars, but there's only really one big club, which is like Bar and Beyond. And it's kind of like because it's not a big student city, there isn't really that much of a nightlife during the week. there's only really Saturdays, Fridays, and then Wednesdays sometimes. They do
What's
do a student night on a Wednesday, but
what's the bar for you?
trying to I feel
Good
like
rest.
most of us would probably go to Weatherspoons before we go out.
Okay. And if compared to where your hometown, what are the shops and food varieties like? Is it popular shops, local shops, or a good mix?
There's quite a lot of popular shops, I would say, and there are so many restaurants. Like I've never been somewhere with more restaurants. Like there's restaurants, every chain restaurant you could possibly think of, is in Chelmsford.
So what's your chain restaurant then? What's your go-to place every time?
Oh, I feel like I always go to Wagamama's. It's like a chain restaurant. That's just a good one for me personally.
What general advice would you give to students about to study university?
Stay on top of everything, work little and often. It's so much better than letting things pile up and just get on top of you, just chip away. Even if if I've got loads of things to do, I make a list and I start with the easiest one, and then I feel good about myself, and then I go on to do something a little bit more like time consuming or trickier. So yeah, just don't let things get on top of you, and if you do, then make sure you talk to someone about it.
What advice would you give to students about to study at your university?
I would say like make most of having London on your doorstep. Like if Chelmsford can get quite boring sometimes, like just go out for a night. It's quite easy to go out for a night out in London, or go out for the day in London when you do get a little bit bored.
Okay. And finally, what advice would you give to students about to study your course?
Oh, learn how to study properly. And medicine isn't even that hard. It's just the amount of knowledge that you have to know, which makes it really, really tricky. But if you learn to study properly and you learn to like work through that information efficiently, you'll be fine.
You chose going to university over an apprenticeship / going right into work. What path do you to make this choice?
That is such an interesting question, because one of my best friends is actually doing an apprenticeship, and she's had like such an incredible experience. You know, they paid for her degree. Like there are some incredible apprenticeship options out there, and I think definitely, I don't know, I feel like it's slept on a little bit. I feel like a lot of people don't know the options that are available to them in terms of like apprenticeships. For me, I like, obviously to be a doctor you need that qualification. There's no way of getting that any other way. The same as if you wanted to be a teacher or a solicitor or something, like there is a set path that you need to follow to get those qualifications. And I knew that was what I wanted, so that's why I chose to go to uni.
Could you tell us more about your Instagram, where we can find you, what students can expect to see on your Instagram, and what kind of posts you do?
So I have like an Instagram, and I've got like a YouTube channel, and I would say my Instagram is definitely more like fashion, travel. Sometimes I do post about issues in medicine. So recently there was the whole thing about like the med bikini thing. I did a post about that. I did a post about results day. But most of it is just basically me living my life. So if you are interested in doing medicine and you want to see what I get up to on a day-to-day basis, then follow me. My handle is just @Fayebate. Then on my YouTube, I kind of talk a little bit more about the application process for medicine. A little bit, I do more in-depth, like day in the life, week in the life sort of videos. And my channel is just Fayebate again. So give me a subscribe.
Could you briefly go over, when a student is about to study a nursing course, how the placement works?
I don't do nursing.
You do?
Medicine.
Sorry, are they not the same?
No.
Sorry, so could you explain the difference between nursing and medicine?
So nursing, you become a nurse. Medicine, you become a doctor.
So with medicine,
yeah,
do you do placement while studying?
Yeah, so you do. So some depends on your university, and I definitely think if you are like practically orientated like me, or if you're more academic, then this is something that you really need to look for in a uni. So for me, we've been on placement since the very beginning of first year, whereas others you might not go on till third year. So this is very much like my own personal experience, but I go on placement once. I've been on placement once a week since first year, like for an afternoon where you just go on the wards. And in the first few years, you aren't given any responsibility. It's very much like observing, or you might be asked to do a history or an examination, but under the supervision of like a doctor. And then we also have like a 4-week block at the end of every year where we're just in hospital for 4 weeks, like full time. And then from third year onwards, so from March of this year, I'm move from being campus-based teaching to hospital-based teaching. So I'm going to be in hospital on placement, basically full time. And I think from third year onwards, you have like a more hands-on active role in the hospital.
Could you tell students how your holidays work?
So again, this is like personal to me. For the past few years, so up until third year, my holidays have been less than people do in other courses. Like my brother's about to start economics and my boyfriend did like law, and my boyfriend used to get so much more holiday than me, and he would wind me up. Like he would finish in May and I would finish. Basically, I would say the best way to describe holidays for medicine is probably the same as what you get in school, but minus the half term, like if you went to state school, not like private school. But so I think a bit more. Like I got 8 weeks for summer last year, 8 weeks for summer last year, 1 week for Easter, 2 weeks for Christmas. So that is quite a lot less than most other uni students. And then I think when we go on placement, it gets even less.
So what, with you having this less time, what is it filled with?
Well, I mean, it is mainly content. It's a very content heavy course, very demanding. As I said, like we're in 5 days a week, 9 till 4. We have 3 lectures every day, and then afternoons we have like clinical skills, placement. So there's a lot of content to get through, and then on top of that we have to study. And then, as I said, we get a 4-week placement block. So there's just so much to learn. That's the best way to describe it. And it's understandable, you want doctors who, you need proficient doctors and competent doctors. So they just, you're in a lot to learn all that.
Have you got any advice for students that want to learn how to manage it before they go uni, or like you said, kind of take it in small bits?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think the best thing that I can give for time management is to-do lists. Making sure that you have a good calendar or diary, whether that's physical or just on your phone. I just use on my phone and that works well. But when someone says, oh, can you do this next week? Can you do this in 2 weeks time? There's a deadline in a month. Don't think, oh, I'll put it in my calendar later. As soon as someone says something, put it in your calendar so that you have that like organization. Then I'd say to-do lists. If you're really struggling with procrastinating, I really struggle with procrastinating, then start with the easiest thing first, because then you'll get this sense of achievement that will propel you and give you energy to do like the harder tasks.
At this point, I let students have what I like to call free for all. You can say what you want about what you'd like. You could say thank you. You could give advice. You could put your ads. You can talk about a story. Literally, the floor is yours.
Oh my god, I don't know, man. All I'd say on placement, well, it's not the worst thing. It's probably like the best thing. Whether you're doing anything placement related, whether that's like medicine or nursing or midwifery, anything, remember to put yourself out there and be like a personable person.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but you're covering your mic.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's fine. So
yeah.
Do that again.
Any placement based subject, make sure that you are like putting yourself out there, because on placement, me and my friend, everyone else was just shadowing doctors or like sitting in on clinics and things like that. And me and my friend, just because we got chatting to people, just because we made an effort, like asking questions and showing we were interested, we got to like scrubbing on surgeries, watch surgeries, and do all these different things that like other medical students at the same level of it as us were not getting the opportunity to, just because we were putting ourselves out there. So like, if you're on placement, that would be some advice I'd like to give. Like, if you're on placement, just really put yourself out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe.
And I'm plugged in.
And I'm plugged in.
Amazing. Thank you.